Hi everyone, I'm Kelly, and I'm here to tell you about the importance of religion as a cohesive social element in the Americas. Any historian who wants to really tell the history of America needs to emphasize the importance of religion in that story. When Christopher Columbus first set sail and discovered the New World, religion was one of his driving motives, and ever since that time, religion has continued to have important impact in the social aspect of America. Religion played a major role in the New World from the moment that Columbus and his men first stepped on land. Columbus had promised to carry the Christian message to all people he found. The Spanish built missions in the New World with vigor, seeking to convert the people lest they be eternally damned. The rise of the English colonies was also interconnected to religion. Puritans, fleeing persecution in England and then loose morals in Holland, sailed to the New World with the hopes of establishing an unpolluted church. Their religious drive, like that of the Spanish friars, made them intolerant of those that were different. The Puritans tried to force a religious cohesion upon the people because they did not want to fear for the salvation of their children as they did while they lived in Holland. There could be no bad influences. Dissidents did still exist, however, as was the case of Anne Hutchinson, who came to the New World following John Cotton, who would become Boston's foremost minister. When she began to lead a theological discussion in which men took part, she tested the boundaries of the roles of women. To make matters worse, her message began to take on a slightly different slant than that of the organized church. She said that salvation was a result not of outward conduct, but of an inward conviction coming from the Spirit, even claiming that the Scriptures were not the only way the Spirit spoke, and that instead he spoke directly to her. John Winthrop saw such ideas as destructive to the community for God that he had been creating in Boston, and Hutchinson was just as intolerant and unwilling to compromise as he was, which resulted in her being banned from the colony as a woman not fit for society. Although people like Anne Hutchinson and Roger Williams, who founded the colony of Rhode Island and Providence Place, moved against the churches built in America, their persistence led to an American pluralism that marked the colonists as separate from Britain and developed the idea of American religion. Almost 100 years after the banning of Anne Hutchinson, the Great Awakening began. This set of revivals reinvigorated the dissenting church, stimulated personal piety, and kindled an intense religious experience and excitement within the colonies. The Great Awakening further unified the colonists and distinguished them from their European counterparts. This American identity would be necessary for the future of America as its own nation. The Great Awakening was about the experiences of the common man. George Whitefield, who would become the voice of the Great Awakening, was known for his ability to talk to the everyday man in their world, preaching to thousands in the marketplace rather than hundreds in the churches. Since the Great Awakening emphasized personal experience rather than the collective experience of the Anglican Church, colonial piety became distinctly American rather than the maintenance of the English Church. The presence of non-Anglican denominations increased in the colonies, but the greater tolerance that was felt as a result of the Great Awakening allowed American religion to still remain cohesive. Also, since American religion was separated from English religion, ministers began to be educated in the colonies instead of England. This fact further divided the colonies from England while making religion more American and thus more cohesive. This cohesiveness would prove to be very important in the upcoming years leading to the American Revolution. The Great Awakening severed religious ties with Britain, offering yet another way that the American colonists were different from their British counterparts. The people had greater power in their own lives. It might even be said that this throwing off of the English as a religious leader was a step towards completely severing the hold of Britain on the colonies. Thanks for listening.